Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi guys, I am well. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, we always
Yes, we love our Thursday
always love when
nights.
you're here Thursday nights. Thank you to all of the people also that are. Thank you to all of the people that have given us so many compliments. We're getting national people. We saw three national reporters listening to us. So it's kind of, we try not to name drop because that's a
Yeah.
little petty. But I'm telling you, we see our lives, we see who follows us, and to have some of you follow us. We're very honored to have you in there because, like I said, we're getting some huge people that we kind of look at ourselves and we think that's got to be a scammer. That's not a real one. And then we go to the account and they have a million followers. So we are really grateful for all of
Yeah.
you, and thank you for all of our friends in the media and that support
Yeah,
us.
TMZ Live is still
hmm
checking in on us, and we
Yeah,
love that because we have
love the
Oh,
so much
TMZ live.
love to
Love
give
you
them.
guys. Love.
Still, I mean, we were on quite a few times, but still,
yeah.
it's nice to see them. It's nice to see that they're interested.
Yeah. You know what,
Yeah.
Jen? We're going to keep our wine segment because I got some nice tidbits. We'll keep that for later. But
Okay.
let's get right into the
Oh,
Guthrie thing. What a crazy day that
yeah.
everyone, whenever the media leaves and they think it's done, then something crazy happens. What was it
Yeah.
all about today, Florence?
Well, I'll actually backtrack a little to start with yesterday because yesterday we had a press junket,
hmm
so we didn't go live. Well, apparently, the FBI, the men in black, all the black SUVs went back to Nancy Guthrie's house, and every
Yeah.
podcaster, JLR, JLR Investigates, Dolly Vision, all of them, man, they were all covering it because again, it's been a month. I mean, I think it's day 26 now. Nancy Grace keeps track
Heartbreaking.
of
Yeah.
every day. And now the men in black and women were back in a single file, all walked back into the home, and they said they heard banging, they heard like power tools, they heard a lot of noise. They even said they saw somebody in a black SUV kind of scrunched down, almost trying to hide who it was. And a few people speculated it might have been Savannah Guthrie because now they're going to re release the house back to the family. And apparently, there's been some talk that she may be going back home to be with her children and her husband, but she wanted to go back to the house one more time. Now,
Right.
mind you, that's all speculation. We don't know who that
Right.
was. A lot of people are saying it's a female, so we were saying either Savannah or Annie, her sister. But it seems like most people think it was probably Savannah. And nobody knows for sure,
Right.
obviously, if she's going
No.
back home or staying. There's also the rumor she's either leaving the Today Show or she's going back to the Today Show. So it depends on which day
Yeah.
you're hearing the
Yeah.
news. But yeah, yesterday that was pretty big. Even Nancy Grace was like they went back a month later, and I was interested in what you and James thought. Why do you think they went back a month later, and why were they hearing like power drill noises?
And how can you give the house back over to the
Yeah,
family when the FBI was just there today or yesterday? Like,
exactly.
what? You can't be that close to giving the house back to the family if people are still walking through there and doing investigations. But this has just been just a circus. And I think this was just an attempt to push all the media back as if it wasn't going to get covered. I think that was actually worse for them. If they were
Yes.
trying to get the media to go away,
Yeah.
telling them to go away, and then putting all these cones down and making it single file, and then saying we have a no go zone, you can't even drive down here, just completely made the media be like, what? Wait, what are you doing? And so I think it actually may have backfired on them a little bit. And you really start to question that you can't really believe anything coming out because they make an announcement and then somebody on the ground is walking down there saying, well, what are all these cars here and what is happening here? So it's been a circus. That's the way I would
Ugh.
describe it, between the sheriff's department and the FBI. They're clearly not communicating with one another. But in terms of Savannah Guthrie, I mean, I can't see how she doesn't go back to the Today Show. I mean, you have to have, this has just been an awful thing. I think after a period of time being away, I think you have to have some normalcy to go back to. I
Yes,
think you have
that's
to
what
have
they were
something to
saying.
go back to. And I think, this is no different than any of the rest of us who have gone through a heartbreaking loss in our life, you take your time and then you have to go back to normal. You have to like
Yeah.
re-enter society and go back to what you're doing. I would find it hard to believe she wouldn't go back to that show.
I think part of the issue there, and like you said, we've all had loss, it's the not knowing and also
Yeah,
not
oh, yeah.
having her mom back in any form to, as she said, if her mom's no longer with us, that they want to say goodbye. You know, you need closure. And I think that's part of it too. One of the things we were talking about, James and I have been talking about this every day with the investigation. There were things that other podcasters and even other media, you know, outlets, major outlets have brought up. But this one podcast that I also listen to, it's called The Interview Room. And these are all former agents and police officers and detectives.
Yep.
And one of them brought up a really good point, and I believe Nancy Grace did as well. The welcome mat that's in front of the door. It's almost everybody has some type of mat in front of the door.
Yeah.
That's been there for a month. One former FBI agent said, I would have bagged that and tagged it immediately, like
Yeah.
the day I got there. So again, you were talking about, you know, this investigation just being, you know, very botched. I believe so. And I believe that might be why they went back, because
Yeah.
again, it's almost like admitting that they don't have anything and they're kind of starting from square one again. Now, James, I was kind of curious to what you thought about that. Do you think that's why they all went back yesterday, like 10 FBI agents?
I think this has been a train wreck from the start, and I think that the problem is the FBI is kind of clueless.
A good way to put it.
Yeah, the police is kind of clueless. Anybody that's watched any type of crime show, especially the 48 hours, first 48 hours, I used to watch the marathons of that all the time. They say that's why they call it the first 48 hours. That is the key. The percentage of finding a person after their loss, after that 2 days, is very small, and it gets smaller as the days goes on. There's people delivering pizza at the house because stupid reporters are ordering pizza and using Savannah's mom's address as the place to deliver it. I mean, don't get me started on how dumb people can be, but this is just getting crazy. And I think that now.
Well, don't forget the pool guy. The pool guy went in and cleaned the pool.
Cleaning the pool.
Like as if nothing was happening. Let's just let him in to clean the pool.
Too many people.
You should never have
That's
anyone.
the problem.
We had a case in Marin, and I'm not going to name any names because this person was a patient, but their husband went missing. And went missing for a year, like 2-3 years, and she ended up divorcing. She was with, you know, because he was gone, and I guess they presumed him deceased, and it was just a big, huge thing. They couldn't find anything, and they literally botched it by not really checking it out quick enough. They thought, because they always think, the person just kind of is hiding, or the person is fled, or
doesn't want to be found.
Yeah, they ran away
from
from home, you know, or something like that. They just need some space. Well, what this lady had done is, I guess she had a falling out with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend was talking about, I need to talk to you immediately. So he went to the police, and what this lady had done is when her husband had died, she redid her backyard, and she put in new cement things, and he told the police, and the reason she did that is because her husband was underneath.
Oh.
So she had cemented him underneath so they wouldn't find. And if she wouldn't have messed up with the boyfriend, it may never have ever been solved. So the key is you got to pressure people, separate them, start interviewing them. You don't let them sit for days and then all of a sudden you're investigating, you're grilling them. It's too late. And I think right now, any evidence they get, it's not going to lead to a conviction because any lawyer is going to destroy this evidence. But right now, I think it's just, let's find her. But a month later, and they're doing, and no one has really done a search, but a group from Mexico that offered their services, and they're the ones that are actually looking the desert and different things. No one else is. This is bizarre.
I will say this. There have been volunteers because JLR investigates. Again, I give this guy so many plugs because he's
I
awesome.
know.
He's
I'm
in
following him too.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. Even on X, on Twitter, he's constantly giving updates. Well, one of the things was, and this was wonderful, was they were making sure that the group of people who were volunteering to do searches to make sure they had water and made sure they had snacks and things that they
Yeah.
needed. But he was even following them just to make sure nobody was messing with them or bothering them. The other thing I wanted to mention was when Savannah Guthrie, and we talked about this the day she released her latest Instagram video about the one up to $1 million reward.
Hmm.
One of the things that a lot of people had pointed out, and I had just sort of mentioned that maybe they went back to the house because they had nothing. It was kind of like starting at ground zero type thing. It was almost like she was putting it out there, not so much to the person or people who did this, but people who know those people. There's
Right.
always somebody knows something, even if you're
Yeah,
not
of
sure of
course.
what it is, that's valuable. But it's very rare that something like this, it's just that one person who knows. Usually other people know, or especially when they release the video and the photos. I mean, that's when I really thought, and they got hundreds of thousands of leads. Like, it was
Yeah.
crazy. They said the amount of leads they got, and still nothing. And that's
Mm.
what I thought was interesting about her Instagram plea to not just the people who did this. She said, no questions asked. We just want information. We just
Yeah.
want to know. But the people in that person's orbit,
Yeah.
you don't have to give your name. We won't ask any questions.
Right.
We
Right.
just
Just
want to
tell
know
us who
where
you think
she
it is.
is.
Right.
Yeah, and I thought
Right.
that was interesting too. And again, it sort of has that feeling of, let's start all over again. Let's start from ground
Right.
zero. And also maybe the acceptance that she's no longer with us, and
Right. Right.
she's in
I do
heaven.
think there is something to be said for that. Maybe this was more recovery, right? Like that
Yes.
was the group that went out there. This was more about recovery. This was no longer about the investigation to try to figure out the kidnapping and that they thought they could get her back. It's more like, okay, well, let's make sure she's really not still here somewhere on the property. But I think the other thing that makes this difficult is if it really is a stranger abduction, that's so rare. I mean, most people
Targeted.
who go, I mean, it does happen, but most people are targeted, or there's somebody that's a crime of opportunity, right? Like I was here and this person walked by me and I had this opportunity, I did it. To actually go into this person's house that potentially, we're all assuming you didn't know, right? And take them, that's going to make it really difficult for them to narrow in because think about where the police start. They start from your inner circle. They say,
Yes.
who benefits? Who's your inner circle? Who's your family? And then they go outward like this. If this person truly is a stranger, I mean, this is almost impossible for them to find this person. I mean, how would they ever connect the dots if this person is
Yeah.
truly a
I
stranger?
do
But, we talked
feel
last time we were on about the possibility that, this could be a stalker of Savannah's. And
yes.
again, that's a stranger, right? That's a stranger
Yes.
to her.
Because Savannah did have years ago a female stalker that
Yeah.
sort of came out recently. I didn't know that. I had heard it on another show. And the other thing they were saying that they kind of backtracked. Originally, it was a burglary gone wrong, and then they went to
Right.
it's targeted. I've always felt that it was someone not necessarily close to her, but someone who
Right.
knows somebody close to her who, like they say, is in the orbit, who maybe realized who she was related to, looked at the kind of house she lived in. Because according to Savannah, again, in this last video that she put out, her mom was taken from her bed in the middle of the
Yeah.
night. And
Oh,
when I
it's just
thought about
horrifying.
that, I mean, can you imagine being woken up now at
No,
your age,
no.
being woken up in the middle of the night by a stranger, but yet an 84-year-old woman who's got major
Helpless.
health issues?
Yeah, and
Helpless.
go on YouTube and put doorbell crazy or doorbell scary, and you will
Yeah.
see thousands, I mean, thousands of videos of people, random people on drugs, people, whatever, just randomly. I think the wildest one I saw was these guys that pretended to be working for a power company, and they had to come in and check, and they had shirts on and everything, and they had to come in and check. And when the man wouldn't
Yeah.
let them in, they tried to break down the door, but the guy had an AK-47. So he shot it into the door, and those guys ran
Yeah,
away.
that'll stop
You know
him.
what? Good for him.
That'll
Yeah.
He's
stop him.
protecting his
Yeah,
family and his house.
so there
Yeah.
is a lot of this. That's why I always tell my brother-in-law, who's very naive a little bit, or he's very welcoming, let's say.
He's very sweet.
You know, I tell him, if you don't know them, I don't care if
Yeah.
they got a police uniform
He's
on.
naive.
Don't let them in, because my gosh, that's what they do, and it's just scary what people are. Crime is so brazen in the United States. Like I said, that one comedian said we become a third world country with first world money, and it's just
Yep.
the crime is just unbelievable. And I know the numbers are down and everything, but boy, you see these YouTube videos and it just blows me away. But I think you're right with recovery. I'm just stunned at the way. Gosh, you should look at everything. The mat, you know, the grass. Did they walk through the grass? Did they walk in dirt near there? Was there footprints?
Oh, the shirt, the blue shirt that sat there forever that somebody left that, didn't end up being part of the case, but it just sat there. You know, it's like there was a lot of mistakes with this case. I think this is something that a lot of law enforcement will break down later and say, this is what not to do, right? Like, this is where you can have, when you have total breakdown between the FBI and your local law enforcement or local sheriff, this is all the things that can go wrong. And
why?
It's not, to me, it wasn't about politics. It was just purely bad communication.
Yeah.
This was just bad communication overall.
And you guys, why are there 16 gloves? Is it a Target robbery, or I mean,
think
what
someone
in the world?
did that on
what
purpose.
in the world?
Again, just like the whole Mexico thing, I think there's someone who's very close by in the area, in that town, very close, who's doing things to get the FBI to go in another direction. I think Mexico was another direction. You notice TMZ has gotten no more ransom letters because they received a bunch of them. And then all of a sudden now they haven't. I believe that was to sort of deter them.
Yep.
I feel like there were so many things that were thrown out there to literally make people go in another direction. And I still feel that. I feel if they ever do solve this case, and I hope they do, the person is going to be somebody, as they say, in that orbit.
Yeah.
I do feel that. I don't feel she was taken across the border.
I do think the gloves was very unique to me because it came out that it was like potentially law enforcement just throwing them on the ground. And there was a lot of criticism of that. And then there were people that come out later and said, well, no, if you had border protection up there searching because they know what it's like to search for somebody in that terrain. And they don't think like criminal law enforcement agents do to not throw the gloves on the ground. But I'm like, what are you trashing up with your litter for anyway? Stick them in your pocket and throw them away in the trash. Like, it was just an awful mentality to just throw them on the ground anyway. But I do think that's a good point, that think about all that we know and all of the attention and the number of agents and law enforcement that was involved in this case and the number of media eyes that were on it. And here we are 4 or 5 weeks later and it's unsolved and really feels like it's gone cold and has, in the last week. And you couldn't solve it with all that. And this is just what we know. Think about all that they kept back from us. Think about all that they didn't share with us that would probably be even worse if you were breaking it down. A stunning case, a stunning non-resolution, and your heart breaks. I mean, this 84-year-old woman, that's everybody's mom in that video.
Yeah.
That's everybody's mom in that house. That's why this caught attention. This has nothing to me to do with Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie, as much as it does people looking at that and seeing that case thought, oh my goodness, that could have been my mom. That could have been my mom alone in the house. That was and that is every woman's worst nightmare, to wake up in the middle of the night and have a stranger standing over your bed. I mean, that is the stuff of nightmares for sure.
Also, you're getting all these letters, you're getting notes, whatever that is being sent to TMZ and everything. There's not one video of her alive. And that's the thing is, if I was the authorities, show me she's alive. Show me so you could look at the video and kind of get, okay, where is she? Is she in a building? Is she in a cave? I mean, at least to do that. And that was never done. I think these are buffoons that did this. I don't think they're hardened criminals. I think they're just desperate for money. And I could be wrong, But that's what I kind of think. I think they want money. They wanted a big payday. They thought they were going to get paid and they were going to move on. If you bury a body in the desert, it's going to take a long time to find it. And I cannot imagine a kidnapper spending the money, the time, and the effort to allow a 84-year-old to live in their home or whatever for months on end.
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
just not happening. So I think this has ended well or horribly. I don't think it's going to end well. And I think it's just one person. I saw a really interesting thing of a citizen that was at a store and they were being interviewed by, I think, Fox or somebody. And they said, this makes you wonder, are any of us safe? And are any of our older parents and grandparents safe? If someone could come in a house late at night while you're sleeping, what in the world are you going to do? Because most people can't afford high-end. Even if you have a security, they could take you and leave. Look at these guys. They have them on Ring.
Right.
And they got away with it.
And this is a nice neighborhood.
Right.
You know?
$1 million homes.
$1 million homes.
So it's I think it's going to be one of those cases that's going to take a very long time. I don't believe in the FBI anymore. I just think they're clueless. I just they have done. I've done some studying. They've done several raids on the wrong homes this year, where they were going to do drug enforcement, and it's the wrong home, and they're arresting could you imagine being 6 a.m. and you got laser pointers of rifles in your head because they think you're a drug dealer? I mean, it's just madness what's going on in our country. But that's what I think. And the sheriff, to me, in Arizona, he is a dirty guy, and he has had actually, I believe, possibly three, but 2 people that worked in his administration that were running against him as sheriff, and he got scandals on him that they got fired for. And he owns a lot of power there, and he's a bigwig, and he's a big fish in a small fish in a big fish in a small pond. And I think that he's dangerous because I think when he came up and said, we might find her in years. I'm like,
days, weeks, months, or
there's
years.
a guy that's desperately losing sleep over this. So, while he goes to U of A
and wanting you to go away.
Yeah.
And wanting you to go away, wanting the press to go away, like, go away. There's nothing to see here. And it's like, what? This is huge. This has gotten huge. You can't take big cases like this. Yeah. Yeah. You can't take big cases like this and just say, go away to the press. Like, it just, that doesn't work. Yeah. This is just, it's bigger than you, right? It's bigger than your town. It's bigger than your state. This is just massive.
One quick thing, and I didn't ask James this yet, so I'm going to ask him live right now. They moved the headquarters for this case from where they are now to Phoenix, Arizona. I believe that's what they did. They moved the headquarters from where they are to now another town or city. Why do you think they would do that? Why would they take it out of the local area?
Well, doesn't the FBI have an office there? I thought the FBI had. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the FBI have an office there. Plus, it's a big city. It's got more resources, more cops.
Because I thought that was interesting that they. I felt like they were trying to maybe, not to say take it away from the local police, but I always felt when the FBI steps in, they kind of take over anyway. But a lot of people were reporting.
I think they have to be invited. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think they have to be invited in. I don't think they can just go in and take over unless they can prove this person crossed state lines. Then it becomes federal jurisdiction.
True.
But they had to be invited in, and they were not invited in. He was very anti-FBI in the beginning. And he, including sending all this lab work to some lab in Florida instead of Quantico when they were invited to go to Quantico. And the FBI, for all its flaws, that's still the best lab in the country by none, like bar none, right?
Yes.
And so I think they had to be invited in. And I think if it's now out of Phoenix, maybe he's acquiesced and given it to them, and that's the closest FBI office. That could be possible, but that's what's going on there. But a little too little too late if you're talking about inviting them in 4 weeks into this investigation and
And
allowing them to do whatever it is that they're doing.
And whatever happened to the legacy thing? Because they did the DNA checking. I guess we haven't heard on that, but that takes time. They haven't said anything about a match. And the legacy thing, I haven't done a search on that, but I wonder because that's a key thing. That has solved a lot of crimes because it literally does DNA checking and familial checking. And even if you're affiliated with someone like that, they could reach back and, oh, well, there's a guy that has a criminal, or he's linked to Savannah, or he lives there.
Right.
So
now, do they have to cooperate? Because I was reading something that said that they don't have to cooperate with that, and because of their customers being upset about that, because originally I guess the idea was, well, we'll never cooperate with the police. You don't ever have to worry. Your DNA is safe here. But then it turned out that was actually solving a lot of crimes. So I wondered, because it seemed to go away. They had mentioned it, and then it kind of went away. So I wondered either
I don't know what I read about was that it was a corporate policy. So if your corporate policy said we won't share this with the FBI unless you sign off on it, then they won't do it. But that's just a corporate policy. It kind of sounded like they could change their mind and let them do it. And that is how they solved Koberger. That is how they solved the Idaho murders. So maybe that's all about, maybe there was fallout after that. Like maybe a lot of their customers said, hey, wait a minute, I gave you my DNA to find out who my ancestors are, not so that you could hand it over to law enforcement. But I feel like that's an easy fix. I feel like when you sign up for these things, you could just say, hey, by the way, you're giving us your DNA. Will you give us permission to share it with law enforcement? And the person can say yes or no. And then it's out of your hands as a corporate entity. You could just say, hey, we asked the question. It's individual by individual. This is the group that said yes. This group said no. We can't help you. Because you can kind of fall back on your customer privacy. I mean, there's nothing more private than your DNA. That you've given over to somebody.
They've had cases, though, like with Apple, Samsung, and these cases where they have a policy of not sharing anything, and the first thing they do is share
it. And they don't.
So it's they don't care as long as the law enforcement is there. That's why it's so scary with our data. And to be honest with you, when I know a little bit about computers and hackers, it's so easy to get our data. You know, I think it's something like 85 million hackers attempt to get money from Americans a year. Something crazy, some crazy number. That's probably low. Yeah, that's low. It's a lot more than that. But there's a lot of ways to get it because Apple was sued by people and other people, but they gave up the information. Facebook is notorious. Well, Facebook loses your information, but they also gave it up. So I think it's written, and I remember in 23andMe, I think it was, I actually read the fine print on this, and it said, I think it said something like that we will not give up your information unless it's extenuating circumstances.
Right.
What's that definition? Is it
police?
Police? Is it,
right.
So it's really an interesting thing, but I think it's really funny because usually what in these cases, because some say, well, what if they don't give up their DNA? There's been several cases where they'll have someone follow someone for a day. And they'll go to McDonald's or they'll go here or they'll smoke a cigarette or drink something and you just get the garbage and you can get their DNA. So it's not – I think at this time it's almost not even trying to catch them because I think this case has been bungled so much. I think it's just trying to find what's happened to her and what's going on because I think with any lawyer is going to destroy this – the way that they got the evidence and the way they got – look at that raid. We thought, boy, we're going to have arrest in the morning and nothing.
I know.
Nothing came out of it.
I know.
It was crazy.
And there's been a couple of things like that, people getting pulled over and people going to other people's houses. It really has been such a circus. And you just feel really bad for the family. I mean, that's heart-wrenching to think, oh, we're close. Oh, we're not close. Oh, we're close. Oh, we're not close.
And look at the man that got killed, that got unalived and he got shot. And he's on the ground. I think Dolly Vision. Yeah, he saw it.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, oh my gosh, is that one of the people that they think did it? Is that one of the suspects? Oh my! But it was a totally different case. There was also another helicopter chase that night. We were listening to the Tucson sheriff and police scanners. So
Oh my
I
goodness.
was online listening to the scanners, and they're going, suspect in lawn. I think
Mhm.
he's under a white car, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys. There's a guy, and it was right by her house. So I'm thinking, oh my God, they got
Yeah,
another
we were
guy.
like, oh no, my
What
God,
the
this is
heck?
happening. This is happening.
Yeah,
I've
so
never done that. I've never done that. I've never listened to a police scanner. It must just be constant.
what happens is you go onto scanner sites and you'll do it, and they're like medical people and airlines people, because when I was flying, you can't understand a word anyone says. Niner,
No, I know.
well,
Yeah.
and you're like, what
It's
did we
all
just say?
acronyms, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and no
Right.
one, everybody mumbles, and on the police they do the same thing. Active shooter and then under the white car, and you're like, what did she just say? I'm trying to rewind it, but yeah, it's very interesting, and I think if it. Also, they have fire department scanners online too. So if you're ever
Yeah.
near a fire or something, I remember when we had the fire and we were evacuated in Fairfield, and it was so not funny, but I mean, here I am filming like an idiot. My family's out, everybody's gone, and I said, I'm just going to
Yeah.
take pictures. So I took pictures, and I'm taking video, and the alarm's sounding, and we have evacuation, and I look, and there isn't a soul in the blocks, and it's kind of a little bit upper middle class area, and there's
Yeah.
not a soul there, and I'm going, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So I walked up to the fire, I'm taking video, and then finally this guy from ABC News was there, and I looked to the right, and a guy is his house is now on fire, so he's trying to save it. So I go, gosh, I'm going to go over there and help that guy. And he goes, come on. So I slap him and I go, come on. And a big guy too. And he goes, I just film it. I don't save anyone. I'll never forget that. So I ran to the guy's house. About 5 of us are hosing his house. We saved his house. It was lucky. But it was unbelievable. When I was there, the police was driving by and everything. I don't know what they were thinking, but I was walking around just taking film. I sold
That's
the
wild.
film too, which was really interesting. They said, could we have it? And I said, well, I'll sell it because there's nothing there. And I think I got something like $200 a second for the film.
Wow.
So
Wow.
this was years ago,
Yeah.
but it was unbelievable. But when things like that happen, it's funny because the thing that bothers me about this whole case, how in the world in a rich area where everyone has security cameras, there's no like 10 rings with this car going away or this guy walking away or anything like that. I saw a case in Massachusetts that this happened, and one in California. They had like 6 ring, they literally followed him down the street.
That's
They had
wild.
6 ring cameras. Why isn't there any other ring cameras that, like 5 or 10 of them, that have this guy recorded? I'm
know.
confused.
Now, speaking of cameras, and this was something I brought up the other night as well to James, that they apparently think that this guy was there before that night because there was a photo they put out or a video that they put out where he doesn't have the backpack on. He doesn't have his weapon in that spot in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, of course, have a date and time because why? It seems like with this case, there's always something that
I know they
keeps
just
them.
won't share the relevant information. I
Yeah.
know.
And it's interesting because a lot of people now are saying they think he was there prior to that night, maybe casing the place out.
And that image, that second image where he doesn't have the backpack and the weapon, it's so creepy, Florence, because it's like
It is.
he's set back a little bit. It almost looks like he doesn't have the eye cutouts or the mouth cutout. It just looks like he has the mask on with nothing else. I mean, it's again, this stuff is just the stuff of your nightmares. This is not what you want to see when you look at your doorbell camera the next day or in a situation like this where something happens. I mean, it's very scary. It does make you wonder, like, what's going on out there. No wonder people have cameras now because you think, well, there's nothing happening, but obviously there is. There's stuff going on out there.
Now that I'm listening. I'm in my mind. I'm seeing all these horrible scenarios. So let's. we loved your book, and it sold thousands of copies. And why don't you tell people just a little bit about it? Because some have asked, what is it? We have put it. We always talk about it, but let's show it and get people
Yes,
to
you
get
always
this, because
do.
this book is a memory.
I've got my book copy here. Let me put it on the other side so you can see it. So this is Atonement. This is book one in my completed Heaven Sent trilogy. And I always tell people, think, Supernatural meets Jessica Jones, right? This is
Mhm.
a family of 9 siblings who is sent by heaven to guard against demonic intrusion here on Earth. And each book follows one of the 3 sisters as they come across different varying demons who are trying to attack their charges. And in Atonement itself, we're following Genevieve O'Mara, who on the anniversary of her husband's disappearance breaks the heaven hell accord. And now hell is not only coming for her and not only coming for her charges, but hell is coming for the whole entire family. And it's all about how are they going to get themselves out of this and right this situation. So yeah, this is book one, and the whole trilogy is available on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or wherever books are sold. So I'm very appreciative of the shout out.
Yeah, this book, what I love about Jen's writing, and everyone talks about it, is Jen is a cerebral writer where her character development is so good. There's a character for everyone. There's people that are, it's not just, oh, I'm a good princess and I'm going to be good. I mean, there's battles,
No.
there's human frailties, everybody's got issues. I mean, you have things, because we all do. We all have weaknesses, we all have things that we struggle with, we all have things that we do wrong. I mean, so it's really a difficult, it's difficult when I read something and the hero is just perfect, and
Yeah.
like the great, like Snow White or something, and that's not how life is, and that's not how these books. So the character development you really get with these characters, and you become kind of, there's always some person that you kind of link on, and you think, gosh, that's someone I really relate to, and that's what I love about this. And this is men, you're going to love this book too. I love this book. I've read it twice. I think that, again, the characters are what I'm into. I love the deepness of the character. It's an easy read. You'll love it. And then once you get this, you're going to want to go on to the next series. But I'm telling you, get this book and try it. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you'll love it. It's Atonement, the Heaven Sent series by J.L. Rothstein, and it's on Amazon or wherever books are sold. It's sold thousands of copies, and I'm telling you, you guys will love it. So let's get some sales there, guys, because some of these books that I'm seeing out there, too many people are writing. I don't want to cut down writers, but boy, there's someone gave me a book to write or to read, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what, I don't know. It sounded like AI written, and
Well,
it
you
was.
do have some of that out there now, don't you?
Yeah,
You do have
it's
some
true.
AI books out there, and you have a lot of, I think the indie author readers, world still has some of those lingering problems of people that are putting content out there that's not reviewed, that's not edited, that's not cleaned up. And we all need that. Nobody writes their book and then just puts it out. Nobody. We all
Yeah.
need it to be read. We all need it to be edited. We all need it to be polished. We all need to take time. There's a lot of jokes on X in the author sphere talking about, oh, you better like what you read because you're going to read it 100 times, and that's true. You are. You are going to read it over 100 times because editing is far, far more intense and more complex than anything you're ever going to write. And we all go through it. So this idea that someone's going to write something and just everyone's going to love it and it's going to be a bestseller and you're just going to put it out there is just total fallacy. Even for published authors go through several edits, including with their agent, right? A lot of times it doesn't even make it to the publisher's desk before it's changed. So I do think that that's something important to make sure that people understand that you're going to have that edited. You're going to have to make changes, cut things. You're going to have to clean your work up before you present it and ask someone to, quite frankly, turn over their hard earned money to pay for it.
Yeah. And it's funny because you look at Stephen King. I mean, for years he wasn't he didn't have anything. I mean, he wasn't making.
Yeah.
And he had Carrie that he threw in the garbage
Yeah.
because
Yes, I can't
people
even
kept
imagine.
denying him it's gonna, and that's a
Yeah.
masterpiece. I mean, so you have all these authors that are saying it took me years to get this, but when I did, it blew up. It just
Yeah.
blew up. And that in podcasting too, I talked to a guy today. He said, I've been doing this 8 years. The most I ever made in a month is probably $40. And now I just found out he just passed the $400,000 mark a
Oh, it's
year.
so exciting.
So, and 8 years, and his
Yeah.
wife was sick of him, and now she's going, honey, I knew you could do it. So,
I always had faith in you.
you're the
Yeah.
best. You're the
I knew
best.
you were gonna
Now,
make it.
you're the best. Now get me that Dolce.
Well, the
First
better
I
story, the
wanted.
better stories are the ones that leave, and then they make it after,
Oh.
and it's like, yeah, you left, you didn't stick it out with me, and now I'm gonna enjoy the fruits of my labor by myself.
I love
But
I
yeah.
love the guy that his wife was cheating on him, so he got a divorce, and the divorce was final, and I guess he had bought a lottery ticket, but he didn't go pick it up.
Oh.
So he did it 2 days after the divorce. She came back to him and said, I love you. We shouldn't have got divorced. And he goes, go away. So she sued him, saying, you got it while we were married. And the judge said, no, you cheated. You didn't want to
Yeah.
be here. You're out.
Yeah.
So he got to keep all the money. So that was great. But yeah, it's a rough go. I'm telling you, we worked so hard today. I have to be honest with you. We took a little nap before
We had
because
to.
sometimes we're getting up at 4 and 5 in the morning or
Ugh.
going to sleep. I get up, I
And
go
all
to
the
sleep sometimes.
travel,
about
you guys
4.
are traveling, and all the prep work. The
It's
prep work
crazy.
is more than the interview itself. The
Oh
prep
yeah,
work is everything. So
and you
just
got to
hours
really know.
just to do that
Yeah,
1 hour.
you got to know your stuff. You got to
So
be
much.
Yeah.
because we like to do, and that's why people like us because we really pride ourselves on our interviews, and that's what the key.
Yeah.
Like when we just did Robin Williams' son, Zak Williams, and what a joy it was. We always want. I met Robin a couple times, very nice man, and to have Zak on, his son, and Kevin Hines, who, oh, what a story!
Yeah.
If you guys
Amazing.
remember, he did a documentary. He was in a documentary in 2006 called The Bridge, and what they did is they took cameras on the Golden Gate Bridge because it's one of the number one places for people to unalive there. So, and they filmed for a year. And San Francisco City sued them because they didn't want it out because they didn't want the negativity of it. But literally, they followed the stories of people who sadly met their end. And Kevin was bipolar. He was really depressed. He just had a lot of struggles. And
19.
he went and he
Oh.
did not jump. He hurled himself. So he literally just jumped. And what was so sad is he said, I was crying. And when someone walked up to me, I thought they were going to talk to me. She asked me to take a picture of her at the bridge.
Oh.
So he literally said that was the moment when that was it. Then no one really cared. So he took the picture
Yeah.
for her. She said, thank you, and left, never looked at him. And then he just said, okay, that's it. And he jumped over. He literally ran and jumped over the railing. But the second he did it, he said, I knew I screwed up and I made
regretted
a
it.
mistake. So he said what he did is he straightened out his feet as much as he could. He went into the water. He broke his back, and he literally crushed his spine, part of his spine, and his pelvis. He was just a mess. He couldn't swim, couldn't float, couldn't move. And this is what was so crazy. The Coast Guard, when they came to get him, said a seal was holding him up. And he said he knew, and the Coast Guard said they had never seen that. And literally, the guy said that seal saved your life because he was sinking. And
Yeah.
they couldn't believe it. And he said, then I knew that was, that when I knew I had a bigger purpose. And now he's become a huge advocate for mental health. And they're going to do a movie, and they're going to call it Death Bridge. And it's going to be a movie about saving people and also the net that they made. It was
Yeah.
huge. I think it took 8 years to get it because the city of San Francisco and people that were in the tourist industry didn't want it because they said that it would make the bridge uglier. But we walked on the bridge
Oh, it
a
was
year ago.
Still beautiful.
Stunning.
Of
Didn't change.
And they
course.
got the
at all.
net, and they
Yeah.
said that it saved probably hundreds of lives. And because it was such a destination, they made a rule that if someone did it, the media would not put their name in the paper. So they would just say a person would do it or a person did it. They would, because they felt that that's what the people wanted. They wanted that
fame.
last thing that they did that. And it was just, it's just heartbreaking. But what a movie. So we did an interview on that. Zak looks just like his dad.
Just like his dad. It's incredible. The smile. I couldn't believe it when we first saw him. But two very nice guys, both of them wonderful. It was a great press junket. We're very excited about the documentary. And again, it's such a hard subject matter.
That is a
And
tough
his
topic.
story is so extraordinary that at one point I think we both got a little choked up.
Yeah, I mean, someone said
yeah.
you guys look like you're going to cry,
Yeah.
and we were. It's hard.
Well,
I
how do you not? How do you not
Yeah.
cry at that? I mean, and just him explaining the moment that he goes over and the regret,
Mm.
that means they're all feeling that. That means
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
person that went over there felt like that. He's not alone. That's in your most desperate moment. And you would like to think that, that seal holding you up, that's not the seal. That's someone else holding you up. I mean, you were definitely made for a higher purpose when God does that. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes,
that
I
is
agree.
divine intervention. There is
And
no
we-
other explanation for that.
Yes.
No, that's well put, because we were affiliated with the hospital that he went to, and we had heard the story, and we couldn't believe it that he had survived. I think 34 people have ever survived the jump,
Yeah.
and 99 point something pass away. And I think
Yeah, as a result of the injuries, you
yeah.
mean like later they do, yeah.
Or no, they right there, because you're going 120 miles per hour,
Yeah.
and it's like hitting cement. And a
Is
lot
that
of
the
them,
highest bridge, Jim? Is that the highest bridge in the United
not
States?
not even near. There's one in China. The Golden Gate is
Well,
really
in the
not
United States.
Y-
In the United
no.
States, is that the highest one?
No, there's others that are higher. The middle is where everybody, if you're really into it, that's where everybody goes. Some will go on the side because it's so. Florence and I went in the middle of the bridge, and you look out and you see Alcatraz and everything, but it is high up. I mean, it is.
It's
Yeah.
very high.
You're like, wow. I've taken a lot of boat trips underneath it, and it is just so. The Golden Gate's
So
intimidating.
Do you
Is
know
that
why
why they
it's happening
choose it?
so
Because
frequently
it's
there?
such a beautiful place. It's
Oh.
You think
when
so?
you go to
Or
yeah,
is it the accessibility, like that you can walk across it, that you
yeah,
can get to it?
it's a tourist place. It's a huge thing. I mean, I've done bike rides over it. I mean,
a lot of
Yeah.
bikes, a lot of bikers when we were there.
yeah, it's just an amazing. And when you
Yeah.
go to it, it's almost like a religious experience. It's so pretty. It's so amazing.
I could
And
believe
we
that.
went.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
went
drove
to the,
over it and walked it.
Yeah, we went to the Cove. We took
Yeah.
pictures. We
a lot of pictures.
and then we were over at Tiburon and Sausalito, and there's San Francisco
Yeah.
and the bridge right there.
Yep.
So it's a magical place, but that's why people want to go there, because there's a bridge in China that is so high it blows away the Golden Gate, and that's another popular place. It's like people want kind of that last hurrah where they're getting some sort of recognition or some sort of attention because they're hurting, and that's why they go to places like that. And the bridge is so dangerous with that, because there's so many places to jump, that the net
Yeah.
has really helped. It's a huge deterrent, because poor Kevin literally took the bus there and then walked on the bridge. I mean, it was so easy
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah.
So if you're in
Yeah.
a bad way, you're going to easily go off it. So The Bridge is a documentary that was done in 2006. I got a pre-copy of it because some theaters wouldn't show it, and it didn't have
Ugh.
a wide release. But I saw it, and I'm not kidding. It affected me for weeks. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I looked up, and the internet wasn't a big deal back then, so I was looking up things for Kevin
Right.
and finding out things. He was only 19 at the time, And it was just bizarre how this guy had because in the medical field we knew. I saw a one person because we were respiratory, so we were kind of on the team of code team and all that. And when you see someone, that they do bring in, it's just, I've heard it's just brutal what happens. It's literally like falling onto cement. I mean, it's just so hard.
Yeah,
That's
at
why
that
their
height,
bones break.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying at that height that the water is like cement when you hit it, because you haven't broken the water, it's the equivalent of hitting cement.
Yeah, in Lake Berryessa, we have a bridge there that as kids, and we do dumb things as kids, it's super high and people would jump off it. I wouldn't, though, because I had started taking medical courses in high school, and I thought, okay, no, that's not good. Your spine, that's not good. So we had a friend that had a full ride scholarship. I'm not going to name his name. He's a great guy. But he had a full ride scholarship for college football. And we went partying and where everyone was drinking and stuff. I wasn't in his group, but he did it, and he literally just shattered his, broke his spine. And he never played football again. And it was just
terrible.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just
very hard. The interview is out on YouTube, and the links are also on our Twitter pages, X pages. But man, I'll never forget that interview because I think it was one of the few times I got choked up.
Yeah. Now, speaking of drowning our sorrows, we're going to talk about wine now.
What a segue.
God, we're the kings of segues. Now, I've got I'm not a wine snob. I'm a snob when it comes to Napa wine. I always usually buy Napa or Sonoma Valley wine. So, but this is, we have gotten so much wine and champagne sent to us by clients that it is,
yes, which James loves. Very thrilled.
I love you.
Yeah,
so these guys are great. So
I like the chocolate. I like when we
she
get
eats
chocolate.
the chocolate. I drink the wine, and we got some champagne sent to us that we're actually going to be doing.
Those go together. Chocolate and wine and champagne goes together very well.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk about. Everyone knows how to open wine, but the thing is that, and if you don't. Yeah, no big deal. But I mean, obviously, you take the. Now, when we were in the 80s and 90s, it was an asso. If you couldn't open a wine with an asso, and the asso is the two-pronged one, and it was hard to, open a bottle of wine. But obviously, you just grab this off. Now, the way I do it is you want this in the middle of the wine, and Jen knows a lot about wine. I always take this clip. We were taught, go to the edge, and then curl it in the middle, and then you're in the middle. And you go down. Some go, I go until it goes through the cork. I don't. I go to it before it goes to the cork because I don't want any cork in the wine. Now, let's say they come and they open a bottle, and Jen, who knows a ton about wine, may not even know this. What are you supposed to do when they give you the cork, Jen?
Well, a lot of people smell it. For the aroma, but it's really tough as the white wine, so because white wine doesn't hold that aroma on the cork the way that a red wine will. So a lot of times don't bother, right? If it's a white wine, let them pour it into the glass and smell it there.
You know what you're supposed to do?
What?
Squeeze it.
Oh,
to see if it's dry, or not.
See if it's stored properly.
Wow.
Because if it's supposed to be stored on its side. And if they cheaply just stored it in a box or something like that, it could lose part of its flavor. It could lose part of its. So that's why they give you the cork. When I was a waiter, I remember I laughed when I left, but I saw people licking it. I saw people tasting it.
I do smell the red wine, though, because sometimes that tells me a little bit about whether or not it's going to be earthy or if it's turned a little bit. And again, you can tell that on the cork. If it's dried out, you can almost just look at the cork and see whether or not it's dried out.
That's why you pour a little bit into the, you just pour a tiny bit into the glass, and that's when you see it, and you swirl it around. And the thing you want to see, especially for a red wine, is the legs. When you put it to the side and the wine goes up and down, you'll literally see streaks of the wine. You want to see that it has good legs. And you also want to smell it and taste it. Bring in air when you taste it, and then you drink it, and that's when you say, waiter, this tastes good. If it tastes bad, then send it back. But that's kind of how you do it when you do a wine. Now, a lot of people also will say, okay, well, I didn't drink all the wine. What do I do? Now, the way that we kind of kept it in is we would take some sort of paper like wax, or I liked parchment paper, or even a paper towel if you're stuck. Cover the cork with it and just put it straight in. Now, some will try to bend the cork in it, and that's not how you do it. You put it
Mm,
straight in, and it will keep it. Red wine will keep a lot longer than white wine.
yeah.
So the white wine you want to drink it real fast, and the red wine you could keep it for a while. And even if it's a little bit over, taste it. If it's okay, you could cook with it. So it's still good. But that's and then for champagne, Jacques Pepin taught me how to open. God bless Jacques Pepin, my hero. But he taught me how to open wine, and so did Julia Child. You never move the cork, ever. If you move the cork, you're going to have trouble getting the cork out, and then it may spill over. And what you do is you get a towel, just a hand towel or something, hold the cork, and then twist the bottle without
Yeah.
moving the cork, and then it will come out. Also, what's interesting is for wine especially, and for champagne, in a lot of countries, a big pop is kind of disrespectful. It's not considered couth. Here, we're like, woohoo, pop, pop. We love the pop. But in a cultural setting, especially in a high-end
Yeah.
restaurant or something, you don't want woohoo. You don't
Well,
want
when
that
you
huge
do what
pop.
you described, when you do it the way you described, which is how I open champagne, you don't get a big pop. You get a very
Mm-mm.
small pop, and you don't lose the champagne. When you do the
No.
big pop and you're muddling with the top, a lot of times the champagne comes out, you've lost some of the wine, you've lost some of the champagne, you've wasted it, right? You could lose a third of a bottle if you're not paying attention. So it's a much better way to save the wine. So a small pop will save that wine and
Yeah,
keep it for
great
you
point.
to drink.
Now, a lot of times too, when you have champagne, or one opener that I love that I saw on Columbo was that there's a wine opener. It's a little uncouth, but I think it's cool. Is a CO2 cartridge, and what you do is you get a needle, and there's a CO2 cartridge in it, and you open up, take off the foil, put the wine in, and when you squeeze the foil, when you squeeze the CO2 cartridge, the CO2
It
opens
pops
up
out.
the cork, and I think it's really cool. So I have so many openers in California,
I
it's
was gonna say,
ridiculous.
are you against the electric one? Because I love the electric one, the
They're
electric
easy.
openers.
I'm kind of a purist, so what I have, like my cut or no, a winery bought me this one time. Is that I actually had the counter opener where you can reopen
Yeah,
and
yeah,
recork it. It's kind of expensive. I wasn't going to pay that much for it, but they bought me
right.
that, so that was really cool. Yeah, I think whatever, as long it's kind of like Jacques Pepin. I'm not a snob when it comes to stuff like that. Whatever, as long as it opens, then it's cool. He was asked on a show. They were trying to be real prissy and giving him all fancy wine and all that, and they just ask him. He's funny. He drinks wine in a water glass, so
Yeah, yeah.
he's not really he's very unpretentious, and he was asked what is the favorite wine, what's that one wine people should get, and he goes the one in their glass. That's what he said. So wine and everything is interesting. I have the most expensive wine I ever tasted was $1,500 Opus, and it was delicious. But I
Mm,
also tasted, and I'm not going to name the winery because they'll get mad at me or sue me. But it was about four. Someone gave me a bottle of. It was about $400, and I tasted it. It was garbage. It was gross. It was horrible. So I actually threw it away. So
Wine is
uh,
so interesting though, James. Don't you feel like it's so subjective, right? Like what your favorite wine is may not be somebody else's favorite wine. And I tell people all the time when they talk to me about wine is you just got to keep trying different things.
yeah.
You don't like, especially when you meet someone that says I don't like red wine or I don't like, a certain type of wine. It's like just keep trying until you find the wine that you like. That's very subjective what you like. And just because something is a 97, 98, 99, 400 or $1,000 bottle of wine doesn't mean you're going to like it. If you don't like that bottle of wine when it's $40, like whatever that is, whether that's a cab or whether that's a Pinot Noir, you're not going to like it just because it's 99 points and it's $400. It's not going to make you
Yeah.
like that wine. So your level, you have to like lower your expectations. That only matters if that's a wine you love to start with.
And it does matter with now. Some people will say the higher the price, the better. But I love Behringer. Behringer's a cheap one, fairly inexpensive wine. I love.
Coppola.
Yeah, Coppola is expensive, but
I love the Coppola wine.
oh, great wine. But the thing is, the pairings. I remember I got a bottle of Cuvée Sang with my uncle. We would. I'm telling you, this combination is the most unbelievable combination. We just got tons of vegetables, a little salt and pepper and olive oil, and we roasted them, and then we drank a bottle of Pinot Noir, and it was like gold. I'd never. When you get a great pairing, chocolate and fruit with Pinot Noir is really good, and Cabernet, obviously, anything with a steak or something, but. She's right. If you get a wine, because like I said, I've tasted expensive wine that they were okay, but then you taste other wines and let it, take a little air in and let it go around your tongue and the different, the tannins if it's red, or the brightness of the honeydew melon if it's white, or there's so many
and I would
different
also
flavors.
suggest like read what's in it, right? Because a lot of people explain to you there's a little tobacco, there's a little bit of earthiness, there's a little bit of there's a little bit of spice to it. There's pepper. You have ones that are like peppery. Pinot Noir has a tendency to lean earthy, which would explain why all your vegetables with the olive oil roasted would go really well with a Pinot Noir. Like that doesn't surprise me. A Barolo probably would have really gone really well with all those root vegetables as well, because they have a tendency to be a little earthy, and they're not as ripe red. They're more the brownish kind of red, and so find a pairing, but keep trying the wines, and don't go right to the $200 bottle. Try your Cabernet at the $20 to $40 range until you find whatever you like, a Cab, a Pinot, a Barolo, whatever it is, and then once you find what you like, then you can start going up and saying, you know what, I'm gonna it's I like this wine. I know I like Zinfandel. I know I like Merlot. I know I like Malbec, whatever it is. Then you can say, okay, I'm going to spend a little extra on this bottle and see if I taste a difference in this 97-point wine. Then you'll know. But if you don't like that wine to start with, there's no number that's going to make you like it.
Like I said, Behringer is under $10. There's great wines. What's the one from Australia that has the kangaroo? I forget what it's called, but
the yellowtail.
Yeah, they have some good wines. And then my favorite is, I love Cuvée Sang. It's a small winery, and their reds are just amazing. And when you open their bottle, it literally fills the room. It's just there's some wines that and it's not overly, it's like in the 30 range, but you could get a good bottle, a $5 or $10 bottle of wine, especially in Napa because it's produced there. But go to Bevmo, go to other places because it's a wine shop.
Oregon.
Yeah, I've tasted some. I've tasted some homemade wine that even had sediment in it, and it tasted amazing. So wine is a healthy. Italian, Spanish, all those people, that Mediterranean diet, they drink wine as kids. Yeah. So not that I'm endorsing that,
no.
but
it is a healthy.
But try it. Try it. Go to a wine tasting. Go to a wine tasting. Try all your different wine, and don't let the price or the number dictate. And just be open to whatever that experience is, and you'll be surprised. So, what is the wine that you have in front of you, Jim? What bottle is that?
This one is a Viognier Laurac from it's a Gaelic wine. I think it's from Portugal, and it's called Les something. I can't even pronounce that. So someone gave this to us, and
it was a gift.
It's something I normally wouldn't buy, so I'm going to look forward to drinking it. I think it's between $25 and $40 the different wines, but like I said, don't be, I've seen, high-end chefs just drink regular. I've seen high-end chefs. I have to be honest with you. I'm not going to call him out, but because he shouldn't be called out. But I know a world-renowned chef that I met, and he was drinking Gallo in a glass.
Yeah. If you like what you like what you like, right? That's the thing. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be a snobby experience. I mean, it can be if you want it to be, but that's not, it's really about bringing people together. It's really
Yeah.
about, finding something that pairs well with your food and a gathering, right? Like it's best served with a group, right? You're at dinner and you're having wine and you're all talking about the wine and what you like and what you don't like. That's the socialness of it. It shouldn't be something that you feel is reserved for some 5-star Michelin
Yeah.
star restaurant. It's for everyone.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. Get the kids to go to bed
No.
early, Saturday night, cut up some nice, cut up cheeses that you
Cheese,
like, some
crackers,
salami,
yeah. Nice bread, too.
ham, get a little sourdough with a glass of wine, get some nice cake or whatever you want for after, and just have a night where you don't have to deal with anything. You don't watch TV, just have music, talk about stuff, and do whatever you want to do as adults, and just have fun, because
Yeah.
you don't have to have fancy things or fancy opportunities or Disneyland or something. I mean, you could have good parts in life with just doing stuff like that, and it's the small
Yeah.
moments that really you kind of bring
And
in the
do your own
memories.
wine tasting. If you don't have
Yeah.
a wine tasting in your area, invite 10 of your friends over.
Oh,
Everybody brings
great
a wine,
idea.
open them up and try each other's wine and pitch it and have everybody try a little bit, have some food, enjoy yourselves, create your own if you don't
And
have one.
this is something you might want to do, is look up underground restaurants, and they're illegal. But I've never heard of anyone being arrested for an underground restaurant. I used to do it in San Francisco because we were in Marin, so I would go to San Francisco a lot, and they would have unique situations. Like one would be you pay $30 and it's all seafood, all you could eat, steak, champagne with desserts. I mean, there was all these things. The most craziest I ever did, though, it was all bugs. So I thought, do I
No.
want to go? So I called up one of
No.
my friends.
No.
He said, go.
Answer no.
I have to be honest. It was good, because people
Ugh.
forget the rest of the world doesn't have steaks.
know.
They don't,
I
they have
know.
to eat bugs for protein. Now, some of them were really good and some were just horrid. And the worst I tasted was the tarantulas. That was the one I just couldn't. But I'm telling you, the teriyaki crickets, 5-star.
Yeah, a lot
They
of
were
people talk
great.
about crickets and how
they
they're
were
not that
good.
bad.
Tasted
Yeah,
like
that
barbecue chips. They were really, they were really
got the crunch
good.
factor. Or find one of those restaurants where you can bring your own, right? Go with a group of
Oh.
friends. Go to like there's a couple of restaurants around us that do it, the pizza places,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Italian, pasta and spread. Bring your own wine. It's like go with a group of friends. Everybody brings 3 bottles of wine. You all get to try something else and pair it with your Italian food. That's a great way to try wine. Like there's lots of different ways to try wine that doesn't have to be super expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I used to collect it when I had tons of money, and I had a collection, and I mean, I was getting a lot. And then I ended up when things started going bad, I drank it all. So so if you do go bad, you'll have a lot of stuff to hold you over. But yeah, wine is fascinating to me. It's an amazing food. It brings people together. I've always said, whenever I travel, I've actually just walked around and met families. And I remember I was in Jamaica, and this lady asked me to come to dinner with their family, and I had the best jerk chicken I ever would taste. It was so freaking hot, but it was so delicious. When you get to meet people and you use food and you use wine, all this nonsense that divides people goes away, and it's just a really, really cool thing. But so I really, a lot of people were asking me, who can't open a bottle of wine? But I just thought it would be fun for you guys to kind of learn the little ins and outs.
I'm not good at that, James. You're good
Yeah.
at that, opening the wine. I have an electric wine opener. I am not good with the whole prying the wine
I would
open.
never
I
have an
don't mess with
electric
it.
open. No,
I
I'm
don't
kidding.
mess with it. I go straight down and open that cork. I never have a problem. It never corks. I never have cork in my
Oh.
wine. It's super easy to come out. Never gets stuck. I never have to worry about Where's Alan? I need him to open my wine. Alan can open the bottle of wine like that. I can't open that bottle of wine like that, but
Florence
I love
just
my electric wine
smashes the
opener.
end. She just smashes the end. She
No,
goes,
I do like Jen's idea because sometimes
Yeah.
it is hard. I mean,
It
I'm
is
not.
hard to get that out,
Yeah.
like to get to actually make that wrist movement and have the power in your hands to pull it out. I don't have that. You
as
know,
long as
my
as long as the cork goes well. They even have
yeah,
now, because some people do have problems opening wine. They have screw-ons, and
yeah,
that's
they do.
sacrilegious. I
They
can't get
do.
to that point yet,
I don't know.
but
It
like
eliminates a lot of the oxygen, you know, and
oh
so did the rubber, you know, the plastic resin corks. There's a lot more of those now because they had a cork shortage not that
yeah,
long ago. So you're seeing a lot of those. So they're definitely trying to innovate, you know,
I'm a cork
in the
guy.
wine and try to get that oxygen out of that bottle and make sure it's the freshest that it can and that it doesn't go bad when you open it. But yeah, I
Gotta
couldn't live
have
without my
cork.
electric wine opener. I love it. Do you carafe your wine, your red wine? Do you let it
If
aerate
it's real,
out?
yeah,
My father used
I
to
have two
always
carafes.
a carafe on the table.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
fancy one and then a cheap one I bought at Target. And if the wine's really good, I'll carafe it. But if it's
Yep.
not, I'll put it in a carafe. But if it's not, nah, it's no need to do it. But if it's a good bottle of wine, it is good, and you could really get the smell of it. Oh, it
Yeah.
aerates it, and it's just beautiful.
Just
But
let it
I,
sit and breathe out. It just feels so nice in the glass later, and especially if you're having people over and you know, pour it in the wine. That's your excuse to drink the whole bottle. It's out
I,
now. It's in the
I
craft. We
could
got to drink it.
easily I could drink 2 bottles. So I unfortunately have a high tolerance of alcohol. But yeah,
Yeah.
we used to have so many parties at my house. It was a lot of fun. But last thing is that if you have champagne, one of these delicious drinks, I call it the potion of motion. And what you do is you take a glass, and I actually you could use any type of fruit juice that you like, but I will take usually cranberry and pineapple. I always have pineapple in it, or pineapple and apple, or something like that, and then you fill the rest of the glass with champagne.
Oh, that's my favorite thing. I love mimosas and
Yeah.
I love juice with
It's like a
champagne.
And you,
spritz. It's like an
yeah,
I
and
love
amaretto
that.
spritz.
that little tiny bit
Oh,
of pineapple juice gives it that ridiculous,
I love that.
taste. It's so
I'm not
it
a big
really
drinker.
pops, really pops.
I'm not a big drinker, Jen. Even wine, like my mother, I have to put like Sprite or something in it, which I know
Yeah.
is
Or
a lot
ice.
of people.
You're putting
Yeah,
ice in
ice.
your glass.
Yeah. See, my parents being from Italy, we grew up with wine. My grandfather made it in our cellar. We had a
Yep.
wine cellar, literally. My parents both being born and raised in Italy, they grew up with wine. So wine was always in our house, like always. I mean, it was always, like I said, a carafe was always on
Yeah.
the table. My grandfather made his own wine, which, they loved. But again, I'm not a big drinker, but I love like what he just described. I love like
Yeah.
cranberry juice, any type of juice. I need something sweet in the champagne. And
Yeah.
I adore that. Mimosas are one of my favorite things.
Yeah, but that was a drink I invented a while back, and people were just like, "Oh my God, this tastes so good." I'd have parties and and it really does taste good. And I get cheap champagne, so it's not expensive because you want
Well,
people
you
to
don't
have
want
the
to do that to
champagne,
a really
but it's
nice
cheap.
champagne, right? You
Yeah,
don't want to put pineapple juice and
yeah,
apple or whatever with Dom Perignon or one of these
yeah.
other really expensive champagnes. You might as well
My
just use them. But again, you
grandfather,
don't have to spend a lot of money on a good champagne. You can
Mm,
get a
yeah,
decent champagne for $30.
oh
my
yeah.
grandfather used to slice peaches when we were little and put the
Ooh,
peaches in the wine, and he would keep it again in the carafe or just like a big pitcher, and he would
yeah,
put sliced peach, sometimes even strawberries. He would just put whatever fruit we had, slice it up and put it in there and let it soak. And then when we were little, he used to give it to us, and my mom used to get so mad, like, don't give him the fruit. But as of course, being older,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
okay. But again, that I loved that. I love any type of fruit or fruit juice with wine or with champagne, and
yeah,
oh, so happy. That to me is the best way to drink it. But again, I'm not a purist. He was born and raised in Napa, so he knows
yeah,
wine. Like, he is a
yep.
wine connoisseur. Like I said, I need something with it.
But what'll be fun next week is we're going to talk about some pairings for wine because I love wine and I love food. Well, let's bring out next week. We're all going to share one recipe that we have that we really enjoy, or a dish that we really enjoy, and what wine we like. For me, I don't like Pinot Grigio. I don't like spicy wines. I think they're I need a
Hmm.
little. I don't mind earthiness a little bit, but there's way too spicy, so I don't really drink those. But everything else, I'm pretty much. I love Sauvignon Blanc, uh, Fume, anything. So really, but I love the reds are my
My
favorite all
answer is
time.
red. I like
Yeah.
red wine. White wine is not my thing.
But we're gonna bring up a recipe, and if some of you guys got some, give
Yeah.
us some too to share. And I think
Yeah.
that'll be fun to talk about. We're running a little late,
Yes.
so why don't we end it all with a couple questions? And another thing that people have been talking about and they're struggling with is growing on social media. And that is the number one thing. I saw someone today who was on a podcast who quit writing because they said they just felt overwhelmed that
Mm,
they had like 3,000 followers on Twitter, about 1,000 on Instagram, and they felt
that's good.
overwhelmed. And what would you say to that person who wants to quit?
I mean, well, I, there could be a lot more going on there, right? It's not for me to say whether or not you should keep writing or not writing. You know in your heart whether or not you're in a headspace to write. Um, I think that's it's a very personal thing when you're out there and it's emotionally draining as well when you're out there and you're just pouring this all out on the page. So only you can say whether or not you're in the right place. And just because you stop writing down doesn't mean you won't pick it up a year from now or 2 years from now or 5 years from now. So it doesn't have to be, it could be no for now and not no forever. And I think you should keep that in mind because you know where you're at in terms of that. But I wouldn't stop writing just because your social media followings aren't that high. Your social media followers are, they're not necessarily going to buy your books. And I know that's going to stun a lot of people and say, "What? You're crazy." But just because you have 10,000 followers doesn't mean you're selling 10,000 books. That's just not true. Social
True.
media is used to for a brand. It's used for people to get yourself out there, for people to get to know you as a person, you as a writer, what your material is, what your background is, what you stand for, what your writing stands for, what messages you're trying to get across in writing. And that's what you're using social media for. And yeah, you can market a little bit and maybe you sell a book here and there on social media or someone sees you on a video and says, "Hey, I like that person. I'm going to buy their book." But that's not how you're selling your books. You're selling your books, but you're going to shows, you're going into bookstores and doing signings. You're doing advertising to sell those books. That's where you're moving the book, and I would just always prioritize the writing over everything else. The focus is the writing, right? And then leave if there's time, then you work on social media, then you work on your website. So you have to have a priority of what's important, and the writing should be the most important. And as long as you have it in your head that we all started somewhere. I didn't have anybody on X when I started. I didn't come on and have 30,000 followers. That just
Yeah,
didn't
you
happen.
grew
I had
fast. You grew
I didn't have
fast,
anybody.
Jen.
I came
So
back here. I
fast.
came out here and I remember when I said to my husband, "Oh my goodness, 100 people are following us. There's 100 people that want to hear what I have to say. That's ridiculous. Like, I can't believe that. That's just so enormous. That's so wild." And then it was 1,000 and then so on and so forth. So it will happen for you over time naturally if you consistently go out there and post, but don't mix up social media and branding. It's social media is one tool in the marketing toolbox, and I say that to people all the time. You have a huge marketing toolbox. It's your website, it's your newsletters, it's interviews that you do, it's book signs that you do, it's the giveaways that you do when you're at shows. The marketing toolbox is ginormous, and social media is just one component of that. Don't put so much on it, right? Like, and everybody starts somewhere. 1,000. I thought, hey, it took me forever to get 1,000 followers on Instagram. Instagram is hard. Instagram
It
is
is.
really
It's
difficult
a
to get.
harder one.
And this was back when it was just images, right? Now it's
Yeah.
even impossible because it's all videos, right? It's all videos and reels and regurgitations of TikToks or snippets of TikTok. This was back when it was just images. I found it was hard to get 1,000. The fact that she has 1,000 on Instagram or he has 1,000 on Instagram is really good. That is a really good basis. You can now launch off from that point. That's you should be happy and proud of that. And don't forget the work that you're putting in to get there. That all revolves around writing. Go back to the writing. If things are starting to feel overwhelming, refocus. It's all about writing. Put everything else down for a while. Just focus on writing.
Now we did get a woman, Sharon, and she. I even tried to get her on. She doesn't want to talk. A little bit shy, so that's okay. But she wanted to thank you and thank us. She said that she did follow the information that she got in regards to the editing. She said it was very painful, but
Mm-hmm.
she hated it, the process, but
Yep.
she said her book came out better than she thought it would, and
Yep.
she's going to be selling it soon, and she wanted to thank us for that. She said that was the hardest thing she ever did because she hates her editor now, but she said she knows it was something she had to do. So she
Well,
wanted to
she's
thank
going to
you.
learn every time she goes through that process. And what I would say to her is if the next time you go through, especially if you keep the same editor, if you're writing in the same genre and you go back to the same editor, um, I would say if every time you go to the editor, you have less of the meat and potato stuff and you're just learning, right? And this becomes almost like a mentorship situation where it's like, okay, you've gotten to this point, let's push you. Let's get you out to this next thing because we want your work to be that much better. That is where you want to go. That lets you know that you're doing better and better with every piece of work. I will say the second most painful thing she's going to do, and having done it myself and Florence, and you both know this, you have to put yourself out there. So make yourself do the
Yes.
interview. And if
Yes.
you're really afraid, come on a show like this, where there's the three of us that will talk and help you and bring you out of that shell. You are going to have to stand in front of someone like I just did and hold up your book and say, this is what my book is about. This is my
Yeah.
30-second pitch. And it's hard. It is so hard. Before I come on the show, I said, Alan, James is going to ask me for my pitch. And he knows. He knows this is the bane of my existence. And I said, come out here and help me practice. He's like, Jen, for goodness sakes, this is almost 6 years. You've got the pitch of your own book, right? Like, we laugh about it, we joke about it, but it's hard. You have to stand in front of strangers. You have to put yourself out. That is going to be the second hardest thing you do, and make yourself do it. My first interview was horrible. Okay, horrible. I messed up. I forgot things. I don't know what I talked about. I don't even know what I talked about. God knows where that video is, right? But you will get better just like everything else in life, just like your writing. You will get better the more you do of it. And the more you practice it, the easier it's going to be for you. And then you're going to be able to do a show. And then you're going to be able to do a book signing. And you're going to see strangers left and right. And you're just going to be able to tell them about your book and tell them why it's great and they should buy it. If you can't do that, you're going to it's going to be enormously hard for you to sell any books. If you cannot stand at a book signing, if you cannot, go on to an interview, if you cannot talk to people about the book, and an invitation like here or some other smaller, maybe not this large a podcast, but maybe a smaller podcast has multiple people on it where you can kind of get your feet wet, highly recommend that you do it. You will not get good and polished unless you throw yourself out there.
You're your own biggest advocate.
Yep.
You
And,
have to
Yes.
advocate for
Yes.
yourself.
You
and
do.
we have some things that we're gonna, now that we're getting a bigger audience, we're gonna start doing some things to help you guys out. We're gonna start getting some guests. We're gonna start doing things we did. We wanted to make sure that we had a good audience, and we do really appreciate your time, and we appreciate your attention. It means a lot to us, and we really try to do our best for everybody. Every time we do a show, it means a lot, and if we don't feel we're at 100% or we didn't do it properly, it really bothers us. So we really do try to do our shows. The goal is to act like you're just naturally so talented and you're not doing anything, but there's a lot of preparation and a lot of
Yes.
things that go behind the scenes
A
that
lot
we
is
do.
going on.
So, but we do appreciate you guys. It really means a lot as we grow and as we get bigger. Florence, before Florence closes, we talk about it all the time. What changed our lives is when TMZ reached out to us and said, do you want to come on our show? And we're like, okay, we're not 25 anymore. We're not. What do we do? People are going to see us. Our friends and family are going to see us. What the heck? What if we sound stupid? What if we hate our voices?
And look where
Yeah.
you are now. Look where
Yeah.
you
So
are
Yeah,
now,
now.
it did change things because we went from having a radio background, which at least I know in my experience, there weren't, podcasting wasn't a thing when I was hired by Cumulus. So no one really could see what you looked like. Nobody knew how old you were. Nobody knew.
Right.
Really, it was just your voice. And in my case, especially, I was hired to go do live events. I was hired to travel and do things remotely and meet the, listeners and to meet the clients and to do the marketing and promotions, do the social media for the radio stations. So TMZ to me was the craziest, scariest thing because it was like, I even said to James, we're really going to be out there now because even our podcast was
Yeah.
audio. So this
Yeah.
was like, whoa. But you know
Yeah.
what? Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
And they say nothing good happens in your comfort, nothing big happens in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think this is the perfect example. For me, it was two things. Getting the job at the radio station because I was a teacher, so I had no business being there. They just gave me a chance because I wanted it so badly. And then I would say, like James said, TMZ Live. That was huge.
Yeah.
And it changed everything.
I used to tell my
Yes.
staff, and I
It
would do
did.
public speaking, and I would tell people, I said, okay, it's time. We're now going to get uncomfortable. And my feeling was that we are going to challenge ourselves. We are going to do things that we never thought we could do. We're going to support one another, and we can all do it. Satchel Paige one time, he said, we all most of us are blessed to be born normal, but none of us have to be average. And it doesn't matter. I don't mean being rich and famous. I don't mean being well known or anything. I know housewives and people that are some of the most successful people I've ever met because they have such amazing lives and with love and kindness. So it's not that. But what I want is anyone that wants to do something or has a dream, it doesn't matter if you're 8 or 80, follow that dream. But if you're going to follow that dream, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to do things that you're not going to want. I always tell people if there's no I love pressure because when there's pressure, that means something's at stake. It's an opportunity. To me, pressure is not negative. Pressure is great. If I'm in, when I played athletics, people go, aren't you afraid? And I'm going, no way, man. I'm excited. We get an opportunity. Why are you stressed? This is great. And that's kind of the mentality you have to be with a book, with anything.
Oh, anything.
We don't have a
Podcasting.
million followers. I mean, we're
No.
getting there, but you have to be proud of what you do.
And if you're nervous,
Content.
James,
Yeah.
if you're nervous, wouldn't you say that just means it matters, right? If you're nervous, that's the
Yes.
thing, right? That means it matters. It means it cares how you come across. It cares what you have to say. Like it not just has stakes, but you care about it. And so that's not a negative either. Everyone is nervous before. You guys were nervous before TMZ and you did phenomenal and it opened up everything and you wouldn't trade it. You wouldn't trade it.
No. And you know what? By doing that, like I even said to James, oh, you know what? We'll do it the one time and we'll be able to have that on our resume and our family and friends will get to see us. Never in my wildest dreams after that first episode did I think they would say, oh, hey, we're going to have you back next month.
They kept asking.
And they kept asking us. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, we did several episodes, and I'll never forget my brother-in-law, my sister, he's kind of laid back, and my sister's a little excitable, and he's yelling at her, a two-story house, and she's upstairs sleeping or resting, and he's screaming, James of Florence, James of Florence. And he's looking, and she's like, what happened? Are they okay? And he goes, no, they're on television. Oh, my God.
But this just goes to show you, like what we were saying before about the people who are sending questions for Jen. And Jen gave an amazing response, which is so true. What really matters is the content. Because even though social media is a fun thing, and we're very grateful for our following on all our platforms. I mean, even TikTok keeps growing. I mean, it's amazing because we put a lot of true crime and a lot of interviews on there. And I know Jen's grown. Oh my God. I mean, when I met Jen, she had 6,000 followers and now she's almost 40,000. It's amazing. I mean, she has this wonderful community that supports her, and she more than supports them. But really, at the end of the day, like Jen said, it's the book you're writing. For us, it's a
Yeah.
podcast, it's collaborations, it's interviews, it's your content. TMZ wouldn't have asked us to be on. I mean, I remember
Right.
that moment where they said, hey, you interview celebrities, talk to them, you talk about them, you're doing these podcasts, why don't you come on our show and do that? It was like, wow.
Yeah.
And again, we didn't go seeking it. I would never have known
Right.
even how to get on that show. It wasn't anything we ever
Right.
talked about
Or if they
or
would even
tried.
talk to you or reach out to you or
Exactly.
even consider you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I will
And
say this one. I mean, full disclosure for everybody's watching. I love James and Florence, like legit, like love them both and support them and will never forget them. And they've been with me since the beginning of my career. And I will never forget that. But there is something so authentic when you watch the two of you. That is what
Oh,
people are
thank
seeing.
you.
And I would just say to everybody watching, don't try to be James and Florence. Be you. Don't try to be JL Rossi. I don't come on here and try to mimic what Florence is doing because I can't. I can't do that. I can't be Florence. I can only be me. If you do that, there's something very authentic about how you come across. And I think you'll do much better. Don't try to be like everyone else. Just be you. Just come out and be you.
And
There's
we
something
feel
very
that way
unique and
about
special
you.
about
Oh
that.
yeah, we adore.
You're so down to earth, but you're also a wonderful communicator. You're a very talented writer, and you're so personable.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you have all the success you have. And I would say that to anyone, do your thing.
Yeah.
Be what
Do your
you
thing.
are. Exactly. Find your people, network, get out there. You're right, Jen. You have to put yourself out there. One
You
of the
do.
things I had mentioned before about I worked for 2 radio stations for Cumulus Media. I was so scared the day my boss, Anthony, handed me a microphone and handed me a camera, and I mean a real camera, not my phone, a camera, and said,
Right.
go work, go talk to people, get some interviews, take some photos, put them
Ugh.
on social media. This is
It's
your job
nerve-wracking.
now. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I went from a classroom of special ed students to this. And again, this was my dream. I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was petrified.
And you guys, I think that's what it is. Whatever you want to do, we get messages all the time where people are either giving us $1 million and Elon Musk gave me $1 million today. So what a nice guy in my DM. So all those scammers.
Was it Elon Musk?
Funny.
1, 2,
Elon
3,
Musk's
4,
in
5,
there.
6, 7.
James, I love you so much.
Yes.
So you're a great guy. Elon Musk's mom gave
Yeah.
me money. So,
Yes,
so
yeah.
all those great scammers. But if you got
Yeah.
something that you really want to do, again, there's a lot of people. I remember the first podcaster I ever listened to. He now has 9 million followers and he's bought his second home. So he's doing okay. But he said, too many people online spend all their time trying to prove they're a big deal. Be
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
And
show
that
your
and that's the thing is you
Yeah.
got people, look what I did, and they'll have no receipts or
Yeah.
they'll lie about it. And then you have other people that are constantly just worried about themselves and they won't help anybody but themselves. Then they wonder why I can't grow. That's the
Yeah.
thing is be giving, be caring, and Florence had a great saying, find your people. Find people that you
Find your
know will
people.
support you. And you will
Yep.
support them, and don't let them down.
And be
they
yourself.
won't let you
Be
down.
authentic.
Yes.
Be
It'll
authentic.
be-
That's why James and
real.
Florence are flourishing. Be authentic. That's what you see when you watch your videos. There's nothing false about it. That's what TMZ saw. That's what these people are seeing who are saying. And that's very unique. This is nothing fake about what's going on here. And I think that that's tremendous. And it's so wonderful to see. I could not be cheering on 2 better people, honestly.
You're so
and
sweet,
we're
Jen.
the same
We
way.
feel the same way
There
about you.
there isn't a day that I don't say the word Jen. So
Yes. True.
Florence gets. I'm always behind. I'm the mad scientist. I'm always thinking of ways.
Yeah,
I'm
you and
always
Alan have to
searching.
get together. Alan's always
yeah.
thinking.
How do I get
I
this
want
person?
them to. I want all 4
Oh,
of us. To
we
get
got
together.
to because I try to see how could we do this because I want us all to make it big. Everyone
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
around
There's
us.
room for all of us.
Yeah.
There's room for
Yeah.
all of us.
And
That's
I'm
how you
telling
should
you
think.
guys, We can do it if you guys just really believe in yourselves. And it's going to take someone, Eskimo guy that has a podcast. I watch every podcast, but he said the problem with social media and the problem with podcasting and writing is that we're building igloos with huge chunks of snow, but the reality is we're really using a spoon. It takes 10 times longer than you think it's going to take. But like I said, most of the friends that I know within 6 to 10 years, they have quit their jobs. They're probably working 20 hours a week, but they stuck with it. Every podcaster that doubted me and told me I wasn't good enough, never going to do it, you're never going to succeed unless you do it like me, I counted them, 17 of them. All of them are no longer podcasting, and they failed. And I'm not going to fail because I'm not going to quit.
Well, and I would say I would agree with you on that. Even in the writer world, I mentioned this a couple of times before with Florence, that there was a group of us when we first come out and we met Florence. There was 5 or 6 of us in that writing community, and they were all younger and prettier, and some of them had more books out than me. And I said, I'm going to work harder. I can't go back in time. I can't become a beauty pageant tomorrow, but I can work harder, and I can believe that this is going somewhere and that I'm going to be somewhere. And I am the last one left standing in that original group. And that's not to say that I wish that on anyone, but I think you have to get your head on straight. It's going to take a lot of work, and there's going to be down times. There's going to be times you doubt yourself, and you have to keep going, and you have to put yourself out there. And just because you do something once doesn't mean you won't be nervous the next time. I do shows. I've done multiple Comic-Con shows, and I still get nervous when the doors open. And Alan says to me every time, Jen, what show number is this? Like, it's going to be fine. And I'm always like, okay. I just got to get the first person that comes to the table. It's because it means something, because you care about it, because you want it to work, because you're working hard. And so those are all good things.
You know what's crazy? We're going to stop this now. We've been going for so long, but the more we go on, the more numbers go up.
Yes, I've noticed too.
So we do thank you guys. I wish
you
we could
so much.
Spend all night
We'll
with
be back
you.
next week, but we appreciate this.
We care about you guys a lot, and we do
you.
appreciate your time and your attention. It really means
a lot. Bye, everyone.
To us. So you take care.
Thank you.
Open the bottle, squeeze that cord. Don't lick it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Bye, Jen.
You guys take care. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Much love to everyone. Take care.